document citizens engaged in peaceful activity. They have a right to document when people are breaking the law.
Recently there's been circulating on the internet and on some of the local news channels, there has been some clips from some of that surveillance from the August 27th riot. And so while mass arrests were going on, a police copter hovers overhead, and it is outfitted with infrared vision. It can see things in the dark. And instead of watching what was going on the street, whomever was operating that kept going to this couple who were making out on a rooftop. And it wasn't just for like a second and then, back to the action. I mean, it was real surveillance. That obviously serves no legitimate governmental objective. There's no law enforcement purpose I could even vaguely imagine, that you could rationally relate to that kind of conduct. Confronted about it, the police department took, 24 hours to think about it and then had no comment. I mean, they just couldn't come up with, I interpret that to mean they couldn't come up with a means of justifying it.
Your police department serves you every day in a different way.
Step back on the sidewalk. Bicyclists that I saw were given their Miranda rights, and I heard no order to disperse.
They should have more space on the streets to be able to ride. It's hard enough as it is to get from one place to another. Why not have a bike?
It's the night of October 29th, going into the 30th. We're at the Time's Up Environmental Space on 49 East Houston Street, New York City. Today we had the critical mass bike ride. We had a federal judge trying to protect us, the permit rule. We had a small party at the space.
By about 11:30 or so, there had been several undercover cops, including a Lieutenant Finale, wearing this Redskins jersey. She'd sort of come into the party very definitely undercover, no badge showing, and apparently she had sent a distress signal. I don't know why she would have. If she were inside the party, she would have just seen people dancing and having a good time.
The police tried to come into the space without a permit. We were able to hold the doors back. They started pepper spraying the street and arresting people. Now they have us. They have the whole place surrounded.
They picked up this one woman. They took her camera. They were trying to wrench it out of her hand, and she ended up having damage to her wrist from, and they completely destroyed her video camera. It was actually the Lieutenant Finale who came at her and smacked the camera out of her hand.
Get your hands off.
Keep moving. Keep moving. Don't raise your hand. Hey, Allie. Keep moving. What happened to your hand?
They were trying to get my camera out of it, so they were hitting it repeatedly to get me to release the camera.
What is it all about?
I don't know. It's about people trying to show that they're in control, I guess. Two different crowds, two different mentalities.
Right. All I saw was the people dancing. People were dancing and the cops just showed up. Man, it was crazy. I have no idea. I'm trying to get my work up to go home. Yeah.
They called Norman Siegel and woke him up, and he came down and...
Okay, this is Norman Siegel. He's our lawyer. Listen, let's do this in a really orderly fashion.
We were able to get people out. Eventually, we ended whatever this standoff was.
As people were leaving and going and getting their bikes off of the Puck Building fence, the police at one point They pull out a saw and cut a couple bikes off of the Puck building.
This was part of the targeting and the selecting of critical mass bike ride community for this kind of punishment. And it's chilling, it's intimidating, I think it's overkill, it's unnecessary.
Have you ever been in a criminal court case before?
No, I haven't even been a juror on a criminal court case.
The whole process is very much political. The fact that I'm going to court and I don't know what's going to happen, and it's, you know, March is it's 7 months or 8 months after my arrest. It's like the punishment is the process.
I didn't have any special fear of police officers or suspicion of them or paranoia or thinking that somehow they were working for the other side. You know, I thought that they were as much a victim of the system as I was. But now, I just don't feel so trusting at all.
It's really up to the broader public to know and to understand what's going on out there, and for a consensus to be developed about how these types of events should be policed.
Just crazy things are going on to stop a few people from biking. But if you could see what they did with the community gardens, they spent just as much money. So you have to wonder, is it really about the bicycling, or is it about community versus the corporate behavior?
This amount of policing has really translated into a loss of democracy for people.
It is dangerous and illegal to ride a bicycle in a procession on the public streets within New York City.
The police department has always sent, a certain amount of police officers on bikes or scooters. They go up along the sides and, cork and facilitate the ride as it goes. And it seems to me that, that doesn't cost nearly as much money as the way they're cracking down now. And it kept everyone safe for years, so why can't it continue to keep them safe? You never kind of want to believe that much money and governmental power could be wielded, because essentially somebody has a grudge. But that's really what it starts to feel like when this goes on for months and months, completely unchecked.
You want to talk about a waste of tax dollars? This is a waste of tax dollars. We have to be here because of this.
So originally, I decided to take this to trial because it seemed like there was unfair, politically motivated, preemptive mass arrests. But that almost seems like nothing compared to what's going on now.
And there was a man who was walking down the street with his bicycle who went up to see what happened and talk to the police officers. And it wound up that he was then arrested.
So I was just dashing out to half-price sushi, and I got to this block, and it was full of people. And I didn't realize it was the critical mass bike ride, but I had my bike with me. So I was riding my bike to get sushi. And the police basically blocked us in. I walked up to the policeman and said, "Where can I get out of here?" And he pointed me down south. And I got down there, and there was no way to get out. They jumped on me and arrested me. Like 3 or 4 of them grabbed my hands behind my back, pushed my head down. Very violent, which was totally unnecessary. So my case was dismissed. And it was dismissed because the real police videotape turned up. And it turned up in conjunction with another case. The police handed it over to a different attorney, and that attorney gave it to Eileen Clancy, and Eileen Clancy gave it to my attorney.
We were very confused at what we were looking at. We couldn't figure out why my tape had some things that his tape didn't have. So we finally put them on monitors side by side. And we were stunned when we saw there was a cut in the tape.
The parts that showed that I was innocent had been cut out of it. And the police said that it was an accident, that it was edited. But how do you edit a tape by accident? And why are you editing arrest evidence to begin with? We are suing